every transcendent quest starts with an irritation, a discomfort of your current experience, and necessitates a time for departure, even when you're not certain of the destination. See, I know through my own life, through my own story, when God started to dismantle stuff, I didn't know how to live life. I knew how to pose and pretend, right, and bring, I knew how to. I was dependent upon those prison walls. I knew how to make my life work. My life was, outside of what I just told you, outside of that, my life was working. I knew how to make money. I knew how to fool people. I knew how to make friends. All those things I was missing that I was trying to build for myself. I didn't feel valued, and so I went out to make sure you valued me, right? I was a super hard worker, right? If you needed something done, you called me, right? If I didn't know how to do it, I'd learn how to do it. If you needed someone that was going to stay late, work harder than everyone else, I'd do it. If you needed to laugh, I'd be the funniest one in the room for you, right? I'd do whatever it would take to make you laugh, even if it was at great personal expense, right? If you needed anything that I thought would bring me value, I would do. So I knew how to work the system. Now it came crashing down on me, thank God. But until then, I knew it. I knew how to work the system. And even after it came crashing down, I tried to rebuild my life on the same structure because that's all I knew. But what came with that was that discomfort, that irritation, that disruption, where I knew there had to be a different way to live. And that's how God works. When he disrupts us, if you think back about, God and Abraham, when he said, hey, look, you can't live here anymore. We're going to move. And now, we know the story now that God said, I'm going to move you here. But if you go back and actually read it at the beginning, he said, I want you to leave everything you have here and move. And Abram said, to where? And God said, I'll show you. Didn't tell him, we're going to move from here to here. This is the life you're living now. I want you to step away from it. He just said, just trust me. Just trust me. And so that's why I've been encouraging you guys to read, Psalm 139. It's just trusting that he's going to show you, right? That our job is just to live and give him access. Give him access. Say, Lord, you search me. You know me. You know me so well that even before I think and say, that takes milliseconds, you already know what it is, right? I can't hide from you. Whether the world around me is dark or I have just darkness in me, it's not darkness to you. So that's why I've been having you guys read through this the last 2 weeks, right? Last 3 weeks. Because this is how we live. Just search me, know me. And so this is the first step into having that God's would take to reverse. This is the first step that God needs to take to reverse that fatherless cycle. He's just saying, look, I'm gonna just listen to you as true Father. I'm gonna let all the other voices I hear be subject to you. And God will do that by, as you ask him to, as you give him access, both help you remember things to work through, and he's going to disrupt your life. He is. Because he loves you. So I'm just going to warn you, it might get worse before it gets better as you follow him on this, right? There's going to be some great things, and there's going to be things that are going to blow up in your face. There's going to be things that you're counting on that you didn't even know you were counting on, that God's saying, I need to pull that away, right? If you give me access, I'm going to pull that away. And it could be a favorite hobby. It could be a relationship you have that's, it could be a sin that you count on. It could be the way that you walk into church and want to make everyone, you want everyone to think that you're doing great, It might be being honest with people. It could be myriads of different things. But it's going to be disruptive, whatever it is, because that's just how this works. but just let God take you through that disruption, whatever it is. And I don't know what it is for anyone in here, right? I know what it was in my story, and I know what it continues to be in my story in different ways. But we have to allow God to do that. Take us out of kind of that false story and bring us to that point where we have to decide, are we willing to face? Because we do have a decision. You know, in the video we show for Beautiful Things, you know, these people have the two pictures, right? Am I going to be this or this, right? Here's how God sees me. Here's how I see me. And what I love about that little video is that it didn't end there, right? The guy that was, you know, ready to go into the strip club, he had to decide, I'm going to go back home and re-engage with my wife. Anyone that's been through marital issues, I mean, there was a reason why he was at that strip club, right? It probably wasn't because things were going great at home. He's got to go back and re-engage in the messiness and the difficulty and, you know, the beautiful craziness of a relationship, right? The young man that had addict, right? He had to decide, I'm going to go and get into a recovery program. So I love how that ended, because it wasn't just, oh, isn't this beautiful and we can move on. No. There's some real things that have to happen when you decide, I'm going to listen to what God says I am and what my value is there. It has to change your life, or you didn't get it. It's not making sense then, right? Because when you get it, it means I'm finally going to have to face my habits, or face my anger, or face this person I've been writing off. It's going to cause you, kind of create the necessity to go back and change something, right? What's that? And it's work, right? But now you can make those decisions because this is who I really am. Your identity, your value, and where it comes from, where you're getting it, it just makes all the difference. And so, yes, it does take that action. It does take going back and going, and I got to re-engage in that. I've got to, engage with my daughter now in a different way, right? With my employer or someone at work, a different way. It's all those things. Those are the places where, and again, it doesn't mean it's got to be these big dramatic things, right? It can be these little things. I'm going to engage with my husband a different way, my wife in a different way, my children in a different way, my next door neighbor a different way, my own heart a different way, right? It'll take a change, but we have to make that decision to wad up that old picture, that old identity, and hold on to that new one. So we're going to go back to the Truman Show, and this is actually the end of the movie. So I'm sorry if you're ever going to watch it, because it's going to be a spoiler. It is actually a really good movie. So the idea here is that he is living in the world's largest studio, and everybody is acting except for him. He's the only one in the studio that doesn't know he's in a studio, And so everybody around him is kind of living this false story. And there's a point in the story where an extra, this beautiful young lady, comes into the story, and he remembers her. She was an actress, playing a part, but they had a connection, a real connection. Well, she's worked out of his story because they went, oh, we can't have any, real connection here, and so the enemy, right, pulls her out of his story, but he always remembered her, and so he's one of the funny scenes of the movie is he goes and buys all these magazines for his wife. But it's like all women's magazines, and he's trying to reconstruct her face. So he's looking for, her eyes were like this, and so he'll cut the eyes out. And her chin was like this, because he's trying to construct a picture of her. So again, and it's just a great picture of, there's something calling him. There was a desire, right, calling him. And so he, and the other piece that is really done well in the movie is that when he's a little boy, they make him think that his father drowned in the ocean, and so they wound him as a young boy, and he's afraid of water. Well, the water is what separates. It's an island, so water is what separates him from the real world, and so he never goes into the water because he's afraid of the water, because water is what they wounded him with, they damaged him with early. So that's how they keep him contained. So we're going to pick this up. He's decided that he's got to find out what this voice, this desire is calling him to, and he has to face his fears, and he has to go on. So let's watch the end of this little parable.
How do we stop them? Okay, we're going to be accessing the weather program now. So hold on to your hats. You got that? No. I think we're going to want to localize the storm over the boat. You can get the coordinates for that.
There's no rescue boat. He won't know what to do.
He'll turn back. He'll be too afraid.
There she blows.
Is that the best you can do? You're gonna have to kill me!
Increase the wind. Increase the wind! I am telling you, for the last, how close is it?
Very close.
Capsize him. Tip him over.
can speak. I can hear you.
Who are you?
I am the creator of a television show that gives hope and joy and inspiration to millions.
Then who am I?
You're the star.
Was nothing real?
You were real. That's what made you so good to watch. Listen to me, Truman. There's no more truth out there than there is in the world I created for you. Same lies. The same deceit. But in my world, you have nothing to fear. I know you better than you know yourself.
You never had a camera in my head.
You're afraid. That's why you can't leave. It's okay, Truman. You can't leave, Truman.
Please, God.
You belong here
You can do it.
with me. Talk to me. Say something. Say something. You're on television. You're live to the whole world.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah.